So I have water going. We're gonna have to add salt to the water and then we're gonna cook the spaghetti. As I mentioned earlier, when I was a kid and we would have this, we would often make it with leftover spaghetti, but you could do it from start to finish this way too. I have water simmering. I'm gonna put the salt in. It quickly comes up to a boil. At that point, we're dropping in our spaghetti. Now, if you were looking at the package of spaghetti, it would probably say cook spaghetti for 8 to 10 minutes. This is gonna get baked, so this is only gonna be about a 4-minute cook on the pasta. We're just letting it release its initial starches, start to kind of soften up a little bit so it's pliable and we can work with it, and then it'll continue to cook. So when you put that pasta in the water, give it a little stir, which is gonna help it from sticking. So what we're gonna use to kind of bind this spaghetti pie together is a little bit of ricotta cheese, some Parmigiano-Reggiano. I'm just gonna grate this in here. And there's not a lot of this mixed with the noodles, but think of this almost a little bit as a binder. You have this, we're gonna toss it with tomato sauce, and this kind of holds everything together. So if you're visualizing it, you want kind of equal parts ricotta and Parmigiano-Reggiano, 3 whole eggs, a little bit of fresh oregano, just salt and pepper.
And you didn't put the stems in there, right?
No stems. So oregano is a hardy herb. The stems tend to be a little bit on the stronger side, so I would not put those in here. Pinch of salt, but we don't need a whole lot of salt because Parmigiano-Reggiano is a salty cheese. And then we're just gonna whisk this all together. To this mixture, we are gonna add, about 2 cups of marinara sauce. You can make your own marinara sauce if there's one that you love at the store. Not adverse to it. This is the basic recipe of Marcella Hassan, which is my basic tomato sauce. We've made it on the show before. You could find the recipe on the Food Network website. So we're gonna put half of this in here.
It matches your tracksuit so well.
See, maybe that's what this tracksuit was all about. We're gonna reserve the rest to warm up to serve with our spaghetti pie. You know what I'm saying?
No sauce left behind.
No sauce left behind. So our pasta should be about ready. That the noodle, it's pretty al dente. We're gonna add this to our sauce. And it's gonna appear to be relatively saucy. But remember, this noodle is gonna continue to cook as it is baking. So it's gonna absorb this sauce and continue to cook as it bakes. We have cheesecake pan, a little bit of olive oil spray. And the reason that we're putting a spray on here is just so things don't stick. You could certainly do this with just butter. So we're just coating the inside. We're going to take our nice al dente pasta and that sauce, and we're going to put it right in our cheesecake pan, give it a little press down, and now we're gonna top this with fresh mozzarella. Good amount, so it's good and cheesy. And then once that mozzarella goes on, and you could even go with more cheese if you want, we're gonna top it with a little bit of the Parmigiano-Reggiano. Our grill, if you look down at our grill right now, it's at about 400 degrees. So we're looking for 350 to 400 degrees temp in the grill. And we're gonna use our grill as an oven. You can see we have coals in back. The settings on the airflow are tamped down to about 25%. That's gonna give us that 350 to 400. We're gonna set this off the flame so the coals are in back. We're gonna put our lid back down. We let it rest for about 10 minutes, kind of like you would with the lasagna.
It just helps it set up a little, right?
Yep, I just went around the edge to make sure that we're gonna get a nice clean release.
Wow.
Look at it.
I mean,
Looks
come
like
on.
Birthday cake.
You could put a candle in this.
Absolutely.
And then we're just gonna cut it up.
Oh, look at it. It just holds really nicely.
Well, yeah, I put some eggs and ricotta in there. So
it's a binder.
Has a
What
little bit of a
delicious
binder. Yeah. I have a little bit of fresh basil from the gardens, some Parmesan, some olive oil. So I'm just gonna do a little
bring a plate
piece
up here.
the cheese. Look at it.
Look at that.
That is a work of art.
And then we're gonna top
gorgeous.
this with some of that warmed up marinara right on top. A little bit of fresh basil and some Parmesan cheese.
This is about to be life-changing. Oh my God. I love the hint of smokiness from the grill.
All right, let's start with the ravioli first. The first thing that we're gonna do is we are going to make our pasta dough. I'm making a straight egg yolk pasta dough. I learned this pasta dough from Mark Vetri. It's very easy to make. It's straight egg yolks, which makes it richer and I feel creates a more tender dough, which is perfect for filled pastas. So I have 10 egg yolks in here already that I've separated. To that, I'm gonna add 2 cups of flour. So I'm gonna get this going. Sometimes you need some water in the dough, sometimes you don't, depending on what is happening outside with the humidity and so forth. It's pretty humid today, so we may not need water. I also put in a little splash of extra virgin olive oil, which gives the dough some flavor and helps with its tenderness. I'm starting this off with the paddle attachment, and then I will move into the hook. Okay, we're gonna go on a low speed to just get it going and get the eggs and the flour combined, and then I will switch to a hook.
Can I make pasta dough without a mixer?
Yeah, I used to only make pasta dough by hand, Liv. Actually, it's incredibly therapeutic, I feel. To do it by hand is about a 10 or 15 minute kneading process because you really need to work the dough very hard to develop the gluten. All right, so Liv, if you come over here and you look, you could see that it's not coming together. So this is when it does need a little bit of water. So I'm gonna start with a tablespoon and then we will go from there. And it'll start to come together, it'll form a ball. The ball will get smoother and smoother, start riding up the hook, and then that's when you're in a good spot. All right, so I'm gonna put this and let it rest. All right, we are going to start working on our filling now. So this is a ricotta and lemon filling. So I have my ricotta cheese here, which I have drained. So we want to get all the liquid out because we don't want a mushy interior to our pasta. So a ricotta goes in the bowl, and I'm going to go 4 parts ricotta to 1 part Parmigiano-Reggiano. So I have a cup of ricotta, 1/4 cup of Parmigiano-Reggiano. To that, I am going to add the zest of 2 lemons, and we're going to reserve these lemons because we're going to use the juice in our sauce. Now, typically, you don't put lemon in cacio e pepe sauce, but this is the Lizzie Lemon Show, and she thinks everything needs lemon. And I actually do like a cacio e pepe with lemon, although not traditional, it is delicious. All right, cracked black pepper, a little pinch of salt. We do not have to go crazy here because the cheese is already salty, and nutmeg. And I go pretty heavy on the nutmeg because I love nutmeg, and I know Liz does too, so. All right, so now I'm gonna put in a splash of olive oil, and we are gonna just get this mixture mixed together. And always, this is a good time, an important time to taste it, because once it's in the pasta,
There's no turning back.
no turning back. And it is humid, so I don't want things to stick. So I flatten it out with my hand first, get it to a place where I could start working it through the mixer. And you can see the dough is so beautiful. Cut this in half. So I have this set at its widest setting right now, which is 1. And I'm gonna go on about a medium speed. And we're just gonna start rolling this through. And what I typically do is I roll everything through each thickness twice. But what I do is I do that, then I fold it again, go again. And then we're just gonna go down 1 more. So I'm gonna cut this in half again now, just so it's easier for me to work with. And I go through. And you're starting to be able to see my hand through there, which is a good sign. So I have this set to 5, which I feel is a pretty good number for ravs. But obviously the thinner you go, the more delicate it is, the more beautiful it is, but there's a challenge in it too. So, you know, I would say as you start working with pasta, start playing around with how thin you can take it and still have it hold up through the process. All right, so I have biggest, medium, smallest. So I mark with the biggest first.
But you're not going all the way through.
No, just marking. And then inside that circle, I mark with the smallest. And then I put my filling in small mark. And then I have my water and this little pastry brush, and I'm gonna brush the outside circle, Liv, you see it?
Mm-hmm.
With some of that water, which is gonna seal it.
That's smart.
Oh yeah, I'm smart. Now I kind of look down, go over top, try to make sure that we don't have any air bubbles in there. Oh, air bubble, get out. And then again, first I go with the big one here, around it.
And now you're going all the way through?
All the way through. And this dough you could rework and re-roll too, so.
So pretty.
In the restaurant sometimes, I wanted there to be like almost no edge. So I would go with the medium one then.
Sometimes I like an edge.
I have my water going. I have a pan on. Ooh, water is boiling nicely. I'm gonna add a couple good pinches of salt to the water. Lizzie, could you juice these 2 lemons for me?
I would love to.
And the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drop the pasta in our boiling water. So we are just gonna put these all in. Now this is just boiling water and salt, that's it. And these are only gonna take a couple minutes to cook. Because it is a fresh pasta, they cook quickly. So that is gonna take a couple minutes. For the cacio e pepe, we are gonna put lemon in ours, not traditional, but everything else is. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I coarsely ground pepper into this pan. Now this is cheese and pepper. Cacio e pepe is the sauce. So do not be shy with your pepper. You want this to be peppery. I'm gonna take some of my pasta water now and add it to my cracked black pepper. And you could see like how much that actually gets like a nice murky looking sauce, and that's what we're looking for. Ravioli is almost done. So we could now start putting in our pecorino romano cheese. And you could either shake or whisk or however you want to do it. You don't want this to come to a boil though now, or that cheese is gonna clump up. If this does start to clump for us, we could add some pasta water to it and it'll smooth it back out. We're gonna add some of that lemon juice. And we shouldn't have to season this because we have the salt of the cheese and we also have the salt in our pasta water. Take our raviolis out, gently add them to our sauce. The raviolis are gonna finish cooking in the sauce, absorb some of that sauce, a little splash of extra virgin olive oil, and we are in good shape. Hit it with a little bit of extra virgin oil, because we can. And I like to hit it with a little bit of cracked black at the end.
Yeah.
Too.
I'm into it.
And there's plenty of cheese in here, so we don't need to put any more cheese. Put a scoop of salad on there. And our pasta.
All right.
Sauce.
Put me in.
Get back here. Put me in, coach. Come on back, Liv.
Wow.
Good.
Libby?
Thank you.
So these are filled with the ricotta, the Parmigiano-Reggiano, nutmeg, lemon zest, salt and pepper. And then we have that cacio e pepe sauce. All right.
Where are we starting?
Pasta.
Pasta, yeah. So we have those, look at that, the ravioli just dripping with the sauce.
Wow. I love the lemon addition in here.
Love this so much.
First thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna start making the sauces for our pastichio that bring the whole thing together. I like to get the meat sauce going first. I have ground beef here, 80-20 ground beef. I have my grill, live coals all the way across because I'm using the grill as a stove top right now. This would be like having the burners on your stove turned on high to medium high. We're gonna add a little bit of olive oil and we'll start cooking in it right before that olive oil starts to smoke. Next, we are going to get our meat seasoned. So,
Could I use another kind of meat in here?
Liv, you absolutely can. When my mom used to make this when we were kids, often it was just lamb in it. You could also do this with ground turkey, ground chicken. You could even use diced eggplant. So we season one side of the beef, give it a little flip, get the other side seasoned. It's about a tablespoon of salt. Cracked black pepper. And now we're gonna just take this and throw it right into our pan that is now nice and hot. And we're not gonna move it around once we get it in there. We're gonna let it start to brown. Now we're gonna start to cut up our onion. So I'm using a yellow onion here. We're just gonna put a nice dice on it. We cut it in half. We go through our onion halfway, go about 90% of the way back. Then spin it again. And then there is our perfectly diced onions.
We love to see that.
Meat is looking good, so I'm gonna put in a half teaspoon of Aleppo pepper.
Aleppo, what's that?
Aleppo is a pepper that you find throughout the Mediterranean. It's a relatively mild chili that's ground, has some sweetness, also has some cumin undertones to it, which I very much enjoy. And the cinnamon goes in there.
It smells so good.
Cinnamon goes with meat and tomato sauces very often. It's very common in Greek cuisine. So now I'm gonna see if my meat is brown. See how that has that great browning on there, Liv? Can you
Oh
see
yeah,
that?
yep.
That's what you want. Now we just take our potato masher and we're gonna just start mashing it up. And this is so you just get it all broken up in there. Then I add my onions and I let the onions sweat and break down in that additional kind of beef fat that came out. Then I don't have to worry about my onions burning to get my meat brown. We're gonna throw our thyme in here, little bundle of thyme, tied it up. We're gonna deglaze the pan with the white wine. Any of those brown bits that stuck to the bottom are just going to come up when we deglaze and then scrape the bottom of our pan. You could use water or stock here if you don't want to use a liquor. We add our crushed tomatoes. You always have a little bit of remnant in there. So just take your water, clean out your can.
Genius.
All the goodies are now in the pot. And this is gonna simmer away now for about 30 minutes. And we're gonna start building our bechamel. So we put the pan on the heat. A bechamel is just a milk-based sauce that is thickened with a basic roux, butter and flour. We are going to add our butter. I'm using a stick of butter. We're gonna let the butter just melt. Once it melts, then we're gonna add the same amount of flour as we have butter. And then we stir this together. The main thing you're looking for is you're looking for a wet sand consistency.
Oh, and it smells so good.
We grab our whisk, we grab our milk. So I put in about a third of my milk. And I whisk it until this comes back up to a simmer and is smooth. And as that is happening, we are gonna season it with salt, a 4-finger pinch, with nutmeg.
Ooh, nutmeg.
Secret ingredient, cracked black pepper. See how it's getting thicker,
Yeah.
thicker, thicker? That's when you could add your next chunk of milk.
And so you're just going like a third at a time?
Third at a time. And we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna whisk, it's gonna thicken. Once it's thickened, we're gonna add the next batch of milk and we're good. So now normally I would cook a bechamel for 45 minutes. In this case, we're gonna cook it a little bit less because it's gonna bake in with the pasta, which is gonna give it that extra cooking time. So the next thing I have to do is I'm gonna take off my bechamel for a second and my meat sauce for a second. And we're going to move our pasta water over to our hot grill. Over here, I have my offset grill, and this is more of a simmering situation, so these could just hang out here as we're getting our pasta ready to cook on our hot grill. To this, I'm gonna add a good 2 full pinches of salt. Always season your pasta water. Now, a pastichio noodle is the noodle that has a little hole down the middle. If you're looking for the Greek one, it's called the number 2. A bucatini is also a pasta of this style. What I wanna do is I wanna cook this in a pot that is the same length as my noodles, so they cook straight. The water's boiling, the water is salted, and I'm gonna set them straight in, and we're not gonna move them, stir them, anything. So Lizzie, I'm about to start building the pasticcio. Now, you could do this in a lasagna or casserole type of pan. I have this fancy,
He loves a good contraption.
I love a contraption. So this is a mold that you could kind of mold to different sizes. I took Liz's favorite cheat tray and lined it with a little bit of foil.
This is traditionally used for cake.
Yeah,
right?
it's
Like
a cake pan.
makers
Yeah.
do-
That you try your best to kind of keep the noodles straight when you pull them out. That's why if they're a little al dente, they're easier to
little
work
easier.
with. So I kind of, get them arranged in there. And as you lay them out, you want to get them all facing as much the same direction as you can. They have a little bit of melted butter. This is perfect because you could arrange as
Right,
I'm
sure.
adding. A little bit of cracked black pepper.
So far, everything I like.
It's already salted
Butter and
because we
pepper.
salted the water.
Pasta.
And then sheep's milk cheese. You could use the Greek caflatori,
Right.
you could use pecorino, but a nice kind of salty cheese. And the next thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna take our meat sauce.
So unlike lasagna, you're not actually layering this.
Yeah, you build it a layer at a time. So when you cut it, you could see all these layers
Do you want these guys out?
in here. Yeah, I'm gonna take out the time.
Okay, I just don't want to overstep my responsibilities.
When has that ever happened? And then for the bechamel, we need to add a little bit more grated cheese.
Okay. How much cheese am I adding here? Just a little bit?
Perfect. Yeah, perfect. Because we have cheese throughout. All right, so then you crack the eggs.
So this is cool enough that you don't really need to temper the eggs?
You don't have to temper because I took it off the heat, let the temperature come down. If your cream sauce is a little bit on the hot side, put a little bit of the cream sauce in the eggs first. But we're good here.
Hi.
And then you whisk this.
This is just going to make it nice and custardy.
Very
with the eggs.
custardy. So then this goes on top.
Look at it. It's a beauty.
And I have the
Love
grill
it.
set up. I use those little grill baskets that you have. You can, with grills, you can buy these little grill baskets. You put those off to the side. You put the coals in there so they contain the coals. The pan is going to go right in between that. This is going to maintain a 400-degree heat for me in the grill when I put the lid down. And we're going to bake this for about an hour. It's all going to set up. This has been going for about an hour. You can see
Don't drop it.
top. I know, that would be really bad. It's got nice and golden on top. I feel it always has to sit for minimally, 20 minutes, but up to an hour. Now this is ready to go, and you can see all those different layers in there. I tend to cut these a little bit bigger always, and you're like, what is wrong with you?
I know. Our granddaughter was here and he literally gave her a piece this big. She's 2.
She looked hungry. Okay.
Okay, I'm excited.
Okay, so let's try our pastichio.
Okay. Oh, it's good.
You get the creaminess of the bechamel, the cinnamon flavor from the meat, the nutmeg.
I love the cinnamon element in this.
Unlike lasagna, it has a touch of texture, and I think that might be why I enjoy it even a little bit more than lasagna. Pretty classic pasta salad. Garlic, microplane, very thin. This is the start of the dressing. Red wine vinegar in with the garlic. Nice pinch of salt in with the garlic, about a 4-finger pinch. About 4 turns of the pepper mill. Now I'm gonna add some fresh herbs to the situation. I'm gonna put the oregano in now because it's a heartier herb. It kind of releases flavor slower. And then I'll finish with basil and a little bit of flat leaf parsley. I'm giving this a little finer cut than I usually do with herbs. Just gonna make sure I give the board a good scrape so I make sure I get any of those oils that may have came out of the herb into our dressing. That goes in, and now we're just gonna start to whisk with our sour cream. So the first thing is we have the oregano, the salt, pepper, the red wine vin. Sour cream is gonna add a tartness to this, but it's also gonna add a very nice creamy mouthfeel to our pasta salad. So we whisk that in. 1 part acid, which is our vinegar, 2 parts fat, which is our olive oil, and you have a vinaigrette. Okay, so now we have the orecchiette. When you think of pastas that are with sauces, when the sauce is hearty, the pasta is hearty. So, Liv, the more delicate the sauce, the more delicate the noodle. So this looks a little soupy now, but it's gonna absorb that sauce. So I'm gonna set this to the side. Got a good amount of knife work here to do. So we're just gonna get going on that. The basil and the flat leaf parsley are gonna go in at the end. So I'm gonna dice the onion. So for a dice, cut it in half. We leave the root side on. We go through with the knife, spin it so the root's facing away from us, straight down, 90% of the way to the root. And then we just go away and we have this perfect little dice. All right, cucumber. We want to kind of keep everything around the same size here, so I'm going to quarter these. And then we'll put like a square kind of dice situation on these. And just like that.
Are those cherry tomatoes?
These are cherry tomatoes from the garden. I'm just splitting them in half. They are like sugar bombs. They're so sweet. Now everything is in our tomato salad other than those fresh herbs. We'll get this tossed add the herbs at the very end before we serve it. Could you put the fresh herbs with the pasta salad? We got a nice
Yes.
handful of basil there and a nice handful of flat leaf parsley. Today we're gonna call it American pastichio because it has a lot of those Greek flavors in it. I have my pan here on the heat. So we're gonna start out with a little bit of oil in the pan just to get that fat going. And you can see the oil in the pan is hot because that oil is spreading around quickly. We get the meat in here. And once the meat goes in, I'm gonna press it down a little bit in the pan so we can really increase our surface area, which is gonna increase our browning. Listen to the sizzle. That is important. If you put the meat in your pan and there is no noise, you have not got your pan hot enough and you're not gonna get that caramelization that you need. And I'm over about a medium-high heat. All right, so we have 3 cloves of garlic here. I just gave them a little smash with my knife, and then we're gonna give them a rough minced chop.
You're using a yellow onion right now, but could I use red?
Yeah, I always think onions, look for the onions that are freshest at your store, Liv. And then those are the ones that you wanna go with. I'm gonna put a small dice on these. So I'm gonna flip this meat now, move it around so the other side could start to caramelize too, because we wanna get as much of that color on here as we can when we're browning that meat. So you can kind of break it up now, get it back over that higher heat, and let the rest kind of caramelize up and just break it. All right, I'm gonna put the onions in first. At this point, I'm gonna make sure that everything is seasoned real good. So we're gonna season our onions, a little bit of salt on that meat, cracked black pepper. Now those onions are gonna sweat, the meat's gonna continue to cook. Garlic goes in. All right, so oregano, rough chop. Oregano goes in. I'm gonna put the smallest amount of cinnamon, like a 1/4 of a teaspoon. We're gonna mix this all up. Those onions you could see are starting to sweat. Our meat has a great color on it. And at this point, we are going to move it to the slightly cooler side of the pan. I'm gonna put in my tomato paste, Tuscan toothpaste, some people call it. And we're gonna let this begin to caramelize a little bit. When you put it in, it's bright red. You want it just to get a little bit rusty. That's gonna bring out all its natural sugars and flavor. We never wanna miss the opportunity to add flavor. Then we could mix that in with our ground beef, our onions, our garlic, and our oregano. To this, I'm going to add some crushed tomatoes, 1 can of crushed tomatoes. Pour them over your spoon so it doesn't splash. Give it a stir. We're gonna cook this sauce throughout the show. So I'm gonna add a little bit of water in here and just let this kind of reduce down, let those flavors develop and all that goodness happen. All right, so I have my water over here boiling. I am going to put a couple big pinches of salt in the water because pasta doesn't come seasoning, and you could also see it brings it to more of a rolling boil. We're gonna put in our elbow macaroni, because that's when we grew up when. This is gonna cook for about 6 to 8 minutes. You wanna basically cook it 2 minutes less than the directions tell you to, because we could finish it in the sauce. It's still a little al dente, which is what we want. I'm gonna put a little splash of the starchy pasta water in with our sauce that is cooked down, because we have the starch and the salt in the water, reinforces that this is seasoned good. And then I just give this a good little toss.
That's some muscles, because that pan is heavy.
Well, you know, Liz, I've been working out a little bit, so this is just gonna kind of simmer for about another 45 seconds or so. As you can see, it kind of has come together
Yeah,
really
see it thickened up
nice.
a little bit.
Yum.
It's right up your alley.
It's so good. It's so good.